All right, let's dive into The Courage to be Disliked.
Yeah, this book is great.
I'm really excited to unpack it. It's like a crash course on this whole Adlerian psychology thing, right?
Yeah,
And it is.
yeah.
But it's disguised as a dialogue between this philosopher and a young guy
Yeah, a youth.
who's kind of like not really buying it.
Yeah. He's pretty resistant.
He's skeptical. So our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to extract the practical wisdom from all this stuff.
That's right.
And see how it can help us build those stronger relationships.
Yeah.
And live happier lives.
For sure.
But be warned, it might turn your world upside down a little bit.
It very well could.
In a good way, hopefully.
Yes. It challenges a lot of assumptions, that's for sure.
So it jumps right in, doesn't it?
It does.
Challenging all that conventional wisdom.
Like right out the gate.
Like that idea that all problems are like interpersonal.
Yeah, relationship problems.
Relationship problems.
Yeah.
And the young guy in the book, he's like, wait, what?
He's like, life's supposed to get more complicated, right?
Yeah.
As we get older.
Exactly. That's what we're told, right?
Yeah. The philosopher just throws it right back at him.
And how does he say it? It's like, the world is...
The world is simple, and life is simple, too.
Right.
It's because you are making the world complicated.
Whoa. What a concept.
Yeah.
It's like a huge wake-up call, right?
Yeah.
This is like the core of Adlerian thought.
It is. We don't live in this, like, objective world.
Yeah.
We live in a world that we kind of create.
Yeah, subjective world.
That's right.
So it's like we have way more power over our experiences than we even realize.
It's not about denying the reality, but understanding that the meaning we give things is what shapes how we experience it.
Okay, so that's interesting. And then there's that example of the reclusive friend.
Yeah.
He's got this friend that just, like, does not want to go out.
Yeah.
And the young guy just can't wrap his head around, like, why is this?
Yeah, he assumes it must be from some past trauma.
Something must have happened to him. He's got to have, some baggage, so to speak.
But the philosopher proposes a different perspective.
It's not about the past.
It's his current goal to avoid social situations.
Right. It's the present goal that's kind of shaping his actions.
This is where the whole concept of teleology comes in.
So we're driven by our present goals.
Right. Not just by the causes of the past.
Okay, but it doesn't mean he's faking it, right?
No, not at all.
Like the anxiety is real.
His desire to avoid these situations,
Yeah.
that's what's creating the anxiety.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's counterintuitive, but it's actually very liberating.
Yeah, because it kind of shifts our focus to what we can control, maybe.
Yeah,
our goals and stuff.
Yeah, it recognizes your agency.
And then he says, the philosopher's like, okay, all problems.
Our interpersonal relationship problems.
All problems are interpersonal problems.
Yeah.
And the young guy's like, hold on a second, isn't that oversimplifying thing?
He pushes back on that. Yeah, he really does.
Because it seems too simple, right?
Yeah.
And then he brings up this example of the student who's terrified of blushing.
Oh, I love that example.
Yeah, so relatable, right?
It is.
And it turns out she's afraid to blush in front of this guy she likes.
That's right.
So it's not really about the blushing itself.
No, it's not about the physical blushing.
It's about the rejection.
Right.
The potential for being hurt in this relationship.
Exactly.
And it doesn't have to be romantic.
Not at all. It can be any kind of connection.
Any relationship.
Think about it. Like, what problem are you facing right now?
Yeah.
Is there any way that could be connected to a relationship in your life? It's a good question to consider.
It is. It really is. And it's like, even when we're talking about something like disliking yourself, which... I mean, let's be honest, we all do that.
We all do it from time to
time, yeah. But it's like, that too is kind of a way of protecting yourself.
Protecting yourself from getting hurt.
Yeah, from the potential pain of relationships.
It's like a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
The philosopher points out, though, even when we're alone, we're still thinking about other people.
It's true, so we can't really escape it, can we?
No. It's like we're wired for connection, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. He actually quotes Adler, I think.
Yeah, he does. He says, to get rid of one's problems, all one can do is live in the universe all alone.
But that's impossible.
But that's impossible.
We can't do that. Then he gets into this whole idea of feelings of inferiority, which, according to Adler, aren't even facts.
They're not. Just subjective assumptions.
Yeah, we think we're not good enough. And the young guys, he's like a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
We compare ourselves
Practically.
to other people, and we're like, oh, I don't measure up.
We fall short. And then that leads to the whole inferiority complex, the superiority complex.
But they're just ways to cope with those icky feelings, right?
Yeah, that's right. Coping mechanisms. What's really interesting is that people with superiority complexes, they're actually often masking a deep sense of inferiority.
Like they're trying to overcompensate. They're
Exactly.
feeling bad about themselves.
Think about those people that are constantly bragging or
Yeah.
putting others down. Could that be a sign of insecurity?
Oh, maybe, yeah. So then the question becomes, how do we deal with these feelings in like a healthy way?
The book suggests that true striving comes from comparing ourselves to our ideal selves, not to other people.
Not to other people. Okay.
So it's not about winning a competition.
Yeah.
It's about personal growth.
Yeah, so then you can like celebrate other people's happiness
Hmm.
because you're not seeing them as competition.
That's right.
You're like, oh, that's great. They're doing their thing. I'm doing mine.
Imagine a world where we all see each other as comrades.
Not competitors.
Right. It would
Yeah.
change the whole dynamic.
Yeah, our interactions would be more genuine.
Authentic. More fulfilling.
Yeah, so then we get to this huge concept.
The courage to be disliked.
Yeah, courage to be disliked.
It's one of the central ideas.
And the philosopher's like, freedom is
Freedom is being disliked by other people.
boom, mic drop.
Right.
But before everybody goes out and starts, like, alienating everybody,
Yeah.
it's not about seeking disapproval.
No.
It's about being authentic.
Living in alignment with your values?
Yeah, even if it means some people aren't going to like it.
That's right.
So it's like, what's the cost of your freedom?
Yeah, what are you holding back on?
Because you're afraid of what people are going to think.
That's a powerful question.
It is. And then they bring up another key concept.
The separation of tasks.
Yes.
That's a big one.
This one's crucial. It's like, focus on what you can control.
And let go of what you can't.
Right. Like, they use this great analogy, the Gordian knot.
Oh, yeah.
This impossible knot.
So complicated.
And Alexander the Great just comes along and slices it.
With his sword.
Yeah. Sometimes we need that, right?
We do. Sometimes
Yeah.
we get so caught up in the complexity of things.
We overthink it.
And we need to take that bold action.
Just cut through it.
They have some very relatable scenarios in the book, too.
Yeah.
Like the young guy struggling with his parents. They don't approve of his job.
Right.
But the message is clear. Take responsibility for your choices.
Even if other people don't like them.
That's right.
It's about recognizing that you can't control their opinions.
Exactly.
You can only control your own actions.
And how you respond.
So it's not about like becoming isolated,
No.
pushing people away.
Right.
It's actually like a gateway to deeper connection,
That's right.
more authentic connections with people.
Moving from codependent relationships
Yeah.
to interdependent.
Okay, I like that.
From vertical to horizontal.
Where you see each other as equals.
Equals. Not one person's better.
That's right.
Oh, and then he uses this great analogy of the coins circulating in an economy.
Oh, it's such a good one.
It's like we're all connected.
In this larger community.
Are a part of this.
And it highlights the importance of contributing to that community.
Yeah.
That's where we get that true sense of belonging.
Oh, that's good. So think about where you feel that
Mhm.
sense of belonging,
Mhm.
and how could shifting to more like horizontal,
Yeah.
equal relationships
Mhm.
change that dynamic?
It's worth exploring.
It is. And then
Yeah.
it all leads to this.
Happiness as a feeling of contribution.
Happiness is a feeling of
They
contribution.
tie everything together.
It's like the North Star of all this.
That's right. It's not about self-affirmation.
So we're not just pumping ourselves up.
It's about self-acceptance
Okay.
and contributing to others.
Contributing.
The philosopher has a powerful quote here. He says, "A person who is obsessed with the desire for recognition does not have any community feeling yet."
Wow. That's deep.
It's about the emptiness of searching for validation.
From other people.
Yes, from the outside.
Yeah. True happiness comes from feeling useful,
Useful, yeah.
regardless of whether you get praised or not.
It's a big shift, isn't it?
It is a huge shift in perspective.
It really makes you wonder, like, how can you contribute to your community?
In a way that feels meaningful to you.
Yeah.
That's the question. And that's what we'll be diving into in part 2
All right.
of this deep dive.
Can't wait. So we're back diving deeper into the courage to be disliked. And last time we were talking about this whole idea of happiness as a feeling of contribution, right?
Yeah.
Being useful to others. But then it throws us this curveball.
It does, doesn't it?
It says we shouldn't praise,
No praise. According to Adlerian psychology, anyway.
which seems crazy, right?
Yeah, especially in our world today.
We're all about the reward,
Gold stars.
the accolades.
Pats on the back.
So how do we, like, motivate people, celebrate achievements without giving them a little praise?
Right. It seems counterintuitive. But the book makes a really good argument against it,
It does.
especially when it comes from a position of authority.
Okay, so like a parent praising their kid.
Exactly. Think about it. A parent praises a child for good grades.
Okay. Yeah.
The child might start studying just to get that praise.
Not for the love of learning.
Exactly. They're not intrinsically motivated.
They're looking for that external validation.
It reinforces vertical relationships.
So one person's higher
Superior.
than the other.
And remember, the Adlerian principle is seeing everyone as equals.
Ah, right, right. So if not praise, then what?
Encouragement.
Encouragement. Okay, what's the difference?
Encouragement focuses on effort
Okay.
and expressing gratitude for what a person has contributed.
So you're not judging the action.
No.
You're appreciating the person behind it.
Exactly. So instead of saying, great job on that project, you're so smart.
Which I totally do, by the way.
Yeah, we all do it. But try saying something like, thank you for putting so much effort into that project.
Yeah.
It really helped the team.
Okay. It's subtle.
It is?
It is. But I can see how it shifts the focus.
From judgment to appreciation. And it recognizes their contribution.
To the community.
In the group, yeah.
And they have that story in the book, too.
They do. About the woman who was afraid of blushing.
Oh, yeah. The counselor didn't try to, like, fix the blushing.
Right, didn't try to cure it.
He just encouraged her to accept herself.
Embrace those imperfections.
To be okay with it, which is so powerful, right?
It is. It's about empowering someone to face their challenges.
From within.
Finding that strength and belief within themselves.
Not relying on that external validation.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think about all those times I get stuck focusing on what I'm not good at.
Oh, yeah.
Dwelling on those shortcomings.
Oh,
And like letting one negative comment overshadow a bunch of positive ones.
yeah, we do that, don't we?
Get caught up in that one bad apple.
One bad apple, yeah. Like it ruins the whole bunch.
The book calls this a lack of harmony of life. We see a part of something,
Yeah.
and we judge the whole thing based on that part.
As if that one critical voice represents everyone's opinion.
Right.
But there are probably tons of other apples out there
Exactly.
that see us for who we are.
We all have strengths and weaknesses.
Nobody's perfect.
Right.
And recognizing that, it's like key to self-acceptance, I guess.
It is. And then they talk about workaholics.
Workaholics, okay.
Not just people who work a lot.
Yeah, because some people love their jobs, right?
Right. But it's people who are so focused on work,
They neglect everything else.
relationships, health.
Food wing and Jenna.
They might achieve great things in their career, but at what cost?
And they often justify it.
Yeah, they say they're doing it for their family.
Right, I'm doing it for you.
But the book points out it might just be an excuse.
To avoid responsibility.
Or to avoid facing a sense of emptiness in their lives.
Okay, so we're getting to the big question here.
What is happiness?
What is happiness? Everyone's always searching for it.
Right.
Everyone wants to be happy.
And Adlerian psychology offers a unique perspective.
It does.
Remember that quote about the person obsessed with recognition?
Yeah, they don't have that community feeling.
Exactly. If we're always chasing external validation, we miss out on the joy of contribution.
Of feeling connected.
That feeling of connection, of being useful, of belonging.
That's the foundation of happiness.
In Adlerian psychology, yes.
It's not about achieving something.
Or acquiring possession.
It's about meaning.
Purpose.
In your everyday life.
And it starts with accepting yourself.
Flaws and all.
Flaws and all. Embracing your normality.
Not needing to be special.
Or superior.
Okay, so being genuine.
Even if it means not being everyone's cup of tea.
Having the courage to be disliked.
Exactly. It frees us from the pressure to conform.
To be who we really are.
And then they talk about how life isn't a line.
Oh yeah, it's like a series of dots.
Dots. Live life like a dance.
Oh, I like that.
Focusing on the present moment, not on some distant goal.
So instead of worrying about reaching the top of the mountain, just enjoy the climb.
Yes. And here's one of the most empowering messages in the book.
Mhm.
We have the power to give meaning to our lives.
Even if they seem meaningless.
It's not about what happens to us.
It's about how we respond.
We can choose to see challenges as opportunities.
Setbacks as learning experiences.
Even the mundane, everyday moments.
As chances for connection. I love that. Finding meaning in the everyday. This is really making me think.
It's thought-provoking, isn't it?
What about you?
Oh, absolutely. And we've really only scratched the surface of this whole here and now concept.
There's so much more to explore.
So much more.
Right. So let's keep exploring this idea of living in the present moment.
in part 3,
in part 3 of our deep dive.
into the courage to be disliked.
All right, final part of our deep dive into the courage to be disliked. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Happiness as a feeling of contribution.
Encouragement over praise.
Yeah. Viewing life as a dance, not a straight line. But this whole here and now thing, it really sticks with me.
It's central to Adlerian psychology. The past is gone.
The future is uncertain.
All we have is right now, this present moment.
Yeah, it's so easy to get lost in regrets or worry about what might happen. But just focusing on the present, it's like incredibly freeing.
The book argues that's how we break free from the past and the future. Not ignoring them, but recognizing that our power lies in the now.
And that ties into giving meaning to our, seemingly meaningless lives. It's not the events that define us, it's the meaning we give them.
Exactly. Even those everyday things we do, like the dishes or laundry.
Stuff we don't really want to do.
Right. But we can actually find joy in them.
If we approach them with the right mindset, finding purpose in the everyday.
Not waiting for something big to happen to make us happy.
Right. It's like shining a spotlight on the now. Instead of letting my mind race about the past or the future, I bring my attention to what I'm experiencing right now.
And when you do that, you experience it more fully.
You notice the little things. I think some people might be listening and thinking, okay, that sounds great and all, but how do I actually do that? How do I live in the here and now?
Well, the book gives us some practical tips. Live earnestly, conscientiously. Focus on what you can do right now.
Not getting bogged down by the big picture. So instead of saying, I want to write a novel, I say, I'm going to write a page today.
Break it down into manageable steps, something you can do right now.
Progress over perfection. What about fear of failure? It seems like everyone struggles with that.
It's a universal experience. And the book says that fear often comes from thinking we need to be perfect.
Or special. To be worthy of love.
But we all know we're not perfect.
That's what makes us human.
And it leads to another important idea. Choosing freedom.
Okay, that sounds kind of abstract. What does it mean to choose freedom?
It means we're not bound by our past, our fears, other people's expectations. We have the power to choose our response.
So I can choose to let go of resentment, forgive myself and others, move forward with a purpose.
Yes. And that choice is available to you in every single moment.
Wow. This deep dive into the courage to be disliked, it's given me so many new ways of thinking about life.
Challenging our assumptions, giving us new perspectives, a path to a more fulfilling life.
We covered a lot, but there's always more to explore. Adlerian psychology is full of surprises.
I encourage everyone to pick up the courage to be disliked. Keep learning.
Keep your mind open, embrace the here and now, and choose freedom.
Thanks for joining us.
And keep diving deeper into the things that matter most to you. We'll see you on the next Sleep Dive.